tasty and not tasty. And then our legend. So this is small. And then filled in is going to be big. So let's graph. So when we are a small portion size and tasty, so small and tasty, we're at an 8. That's somewhere near the top. And we're at a small portion size and not tasty, we go to a 6. That's somewhere down here. And going to big, when we're at a big and tasty, we're at a 10. All the way up here, we'll fill that in. And then when we're at big and not tasty, we're all the way at a 2. So it's down here. If we connect those lines, we go like this, and then like this. We see they're crossed, so we do have an interaction, which I predicted. So do you see how we graph that? These numbers don't mean anything. It's just, it helps me to have numbers on there so I can graph what I think is going to happen. So if I hypothesize that tasty is going to be more than not tasty, I'll just make some numbers up that show that. And if I think that small will be bigger than big, I again make some numbers up to show that. It just helps me. You don't necessarily have to do this. If your brain works where you can just kind of graph this with no numbers, that's fine. Because for your presentation, you don't need a graph with numbers. I'm just going to screenshot this real quick because I think it's going to go away. Okay. And then if we go back to what our hypothesis was for the interaction, our interaction hypothesis was that for tasty food, people with large portions will report highest satisfaction than small portions. So if we go to tasty food, we see that big is higher than small. So that's correct. And then if we go to not tasty food, people with small portions will have higher satisfaction than large portions. So not tasty, we see small is higher than big. So you could have just graphed straight from that example. So you could have, let me put this away real quick. If you don't want to use numbers, again, that just is how my brain works. You could go ahead and graph the interaction. So you have tasty, not tasty, and then big and small. So for tasty food, people with large portions, so that's big, will report higher satisfaction than small portions. So big is going to be bigger than small. That's what that says. Then it says for not tasty food, people with small portions will have higher satisfaction than large portions. So it switches. So not tasty, we could say that small is here and then big is down here. And then just connect them. We still get a similar effect. It just helps me to have numbers. Again, you don't have to do that. Okay, graphing, we just did that. All right, on to proposal assignment 5. Let me show you the sheet for that. There's also a worksheet, and that is online in Canvas. This is proposal assignment 5. So proposal assignment 5 is an outline of your method section. Please refer to this sheet for more detailed information. But the point of this is to help you organize your method section for the final paper and for me to look over it to make sure that you're on the right track. You can use bullet points instead of paragraphs. It's just an outline. You'll be graded on completeness and effort. So please don't stress over exact details. This is important. You're submitting it to the assignment tab and the discussion tab by 5 p.m. on April 15th. So that's the day before we normally have lab. That's a Tuesday. And then you're going to comment on one question per group by midnight on April 16th, which is Wednesday, the day we do normally have lab. So if you think back to our scale assignment, how I put everybody in groups and you had to comment on each other's, we're doing the exact same thing for this. So there'll be a new discussion tab by April 15th when you submit this. So let's go over the assignment sheet. So, zoom in a little bit. The assignment is worth 10 points and due by 5 p.m. on April 15th. Again, submit it to both the assignment tab and the discussion tab. And then the next day by midnight, you're going to submit one question per each group member's outline. So like I said, the purpose of the assignment is to help instill good writing habits. So you're going to organize your thoughts and information by creating an outline of your method section. So you need to create an outline for the 4 major portions of the method section. Again, so provide the necessary details in bullet points. You don't have to do paragraphs. So firstly, you have your design. So here's the questions you need to answer. Are you using a two-way factorial design, indicating whether each variable is between or within subjects, or a correlational design? Why are you doing that? And what are your variables? Then you'll have your participants. Where are they recruited from? Why does this sample make sense? How many will be recruited? And are you giving compensation or an incentive? So are they going to get paid? Are they not going to get paid? Are they going to get a gift card? Your measures. How will you measure each variable? There's a bunch of detail down here, which we'll get to in a second. And then procedure. What are participants going to do from beginning to end? More details down here, which we'll get to. So these are the 4 sections you're going to have. Again, they can be outlined in bullet points. You don't have to do paragraphs. It's just for you to organize your thoughts. So let's talk about this. Your method section should be detailed enough that other researchers could replicate your study. That's very important. I should be able to read your method section and know exactly how to do your study. So you should explain in detail how you plan on measuring your variables and creating levels or conditions of your independent variable if you have an experiment. For example, if you're using a survey scale that has been created previously, which is totally fine if you want to do, you need to give the name of the scale, include 2 example items, and describe the response format, and cite the source containing the scale or information about the scale. So, if, for example, you could say, I'm using the Beck Depression Inventory, cite whoever who wrote it, so Beck and then the year. 2 example items are, give 2 example items, and say it's a Likert scale on a 1 to 5. Strongly agree to strongly disagree, for example. On the other hand, if you're going to create a survey scale to measure variables, you can totally do that. You can use your scale you designed for the last assignment. You need to explain what the scale measures. So my scale measures depression. Create at least 5 sample items. If you're going to use the one from your scale paper, you already did that, and you'll eventually include these in the appendix, and describe the response format. So a Likert scale, is it 1 to 5? Is it 1 to 7? What do the scale points mean? If you're creating levels of an independent variable, you have to explain how they'll be created. So if, for example, you're doing a study where one level of the independent variable is you take a pill and the other level is that you don't take a pill, you have to explain that. And lastly, if you've explained your method clearly, your reader should be able to estimate the scores of an individual participant given your hypothesis and your methods. So if your hypothesis is that people taking the pill will be lower on depression than people not taking the pill, I should be able to accordingly guess your values. So you hypothesize that one group would be lower than the other, so I should see that. Going further down the sheet, I will ensure the outline addresses the 4 major portions of the method section, and that you gave an honest effort. I'll assess the quality of I'm not assessing the quality of the ideas and the information. I'm basically just giving you a grade to see if you completed the information and you have everything listed. So this is important. A good grade in the outline reflects that the outline was complete and does not mean you'll get a high grade on your methods section. So you're going to submit this to the discussion forum on Canvas, as I said. So to summarize, 1, you submit your outline online by 5 p.m. on April 15th to the Assignments tab and the Discussion tab. 2, you'll read through your group members' outlines and comment at least 1 question for a group member by midnight on April 16th. So these questions are meant to clarify and improve the method sections. So you could say, like, I don't understand what this means. Could you please clarify? Or I don't understand why you're recruiting only college students. Could you please clarify? It's meant to help them. And this does not apply because we are online now. So it's only 1 and 2. So forget question 3. I'll delete that. All right, just 1 and 2. So after this, you should be ready to begin writing your proposal paper, because we have basically gone over every section of it, building up to the final paper. So you should be in good hands. All right, let's go back to our sheet. So last slide, overview. Next week, proposal assignment 4 is due. That's your presentation. Again, please stay tuned for assigned times to present during our time slot. It's on next lab, so not this Wednesday, April 1st, but next lab, April 8th, we'll be presenting, and I'll assign everyone time slots. And then due in 2 weeks is proposal assignment number 5. And that is everything.